New live stream. My last one crashed. Fast forward a few minutes if you're watching a replay, and you'll get straight into the content. Or you can just watch me eat nuts and raisins. My last live stream crashed. Something to do with my fiance calling me over and over. I'm black, I mean back. That's so funny. What's up, Meaner? What's up, Mario? I'm doing good. I was just in the middle of cooking. Almost done completely with the meal. And then my fiance kept calling, and for some reason it crashed my live stream on YouTube here. And then, stupidly me, when I opened YouTube back up, a thing popped up that said, your last live stream crashed or something. Would you like to resume it or end? And I accidentally clicked end. So now I'm starting a whole new stream. But I was cooking. Meaner was on it. Meaner, would you say I was cooking? And if I wasn't, let me know. I got thick skin. I'm here to get better. I don't need no massage. Thanks, Parka. Although, I did get a chance to step out, go get a refreshment of Snackies. And the kitchen was getting a little hot as I was drinking coffee. No cool water. So, just to kind of resume where I left off, I imagine there'll be less people on the stream because I'm not bringing people over for TikTok on this one. And, you know, be on here for a bit longer, just kind of answer you guys' questions. But for anyone that wasn't on here, I basically laid out a 5 to 10 year plan of only investing in Bitcoin and making yourself a multimillionaire. That is bulletproof. And I don't say that lightly, I don't say that exaggeratively, I don't say that speculatively. I say that bulletproof. Anyone that knows anything about Bitcoin would say, yeah, no, yeah, that would definitely work. Every one of them. And if they didn't, I'd ask why. And they wouldn't have an answer that made any sense. Why not only recommend that plan? Because people don't want it. They want to get rich today. They want to play altcoins. I play altcoins, but I've been in crypto over 8 years, right? I have taken beatings and learned lessons. And I still take them. And largely, I've just become a lot more comfortable with risk. Like I've built intuition, if that makes sense, through thousands of hours of crypto investing and education and using. By the way, don't be a loser. Go to dailycryptobull.com, get the free DeFi guide. DeFi is still the biggest goddamn opportunity in crypto. That's where all of Wall Street and bankers are coming onto right now. You still can front run the shit out of them. What coin should I buy? That's not what it is. That's the low IQ. Go learn how to use it. Be ahead of 99.999% of the planet. The opportunity is still massive. I put together a free guide. Drives me nuts. You want to win, but you won't go do shit like that. And if you go get it, read it and use it. For the love of fucking God. I've done this before. Almost none of you will get it. And those of you who do, almost none of you will open the email. And maybe one of you will even read the thing halfway. But if you paid for it, every one of you would open the email every one of you will read the damn thing multiple times, and almost every one of you would use it. Prove me wrong. Taking in some metrics right now, if it plays out the way they always play out when I give out free shit, I'm gonna start charging for it because that's the only way anyone will use it. Human psychology. When we pay attention. When we get shit for free, we fuck off. Because when we get things for free, we don't value them, even if they're valuable. When we pay for things, we value them, even if they're not valuable. Go ask your Uncle Eddie why he's still got this 1990s Pokemon baseball card that he said one day it's gonna come up because he paid $1,000 for it. Now it's worth $3. He's like, it's coming back up. Just won't be wrong. Whereas you gave him that card, it'd be in the garbage a long time ago, whatever. Or you'd take $1 for it, or whatever. You want risk? Try meme coins. I'm in meme coins. But I have a bit of a barbell strategy. I have low risk stuff, Bitcoin, and high risk stuff. It's a balance, and it's not for most people. Most people by far should just be following the 5 to 10 year plan, which is just buy Bitcoin. When it's when it's within fair value, which is when it's costs just a little bit more than it does to mine it, fair value, and just buy it regularly. In those very rare moments, which happens about once every 2.5 years, when Bitcoin goes below mining cost, shove everything you can get into it. That's it. If you just do that for 5 to 10 years, and if all Bitcoin does is average 25% gain a year, that's it. 25% gain a year. Bitcoin will be in the millions. If all Bitcoin does, if price appreciates on average a year over the next 10 years, 25%, it'll be in the millions. Per Bitcoin. It's just pure math. There's not speculation, there's not thinking, there's not fear, there's not emotion. It's like, duh. But everyone wants to get rich yesterday. I understand. So I try to appeal to that somewhat, but really most of the time that I spend on here is trying to get adults to understand that they still wear diapers and shit is in their pants. I'm serious. I don't say that insultingly, it's just like, I'm serious. And to also help them understand that they're rolling around in shit, and if they could just hop out of it and take a shower, they would benefit from it. I'm not in shit. You're in shit. Like, it's so, adults are just older children. That's all we are. We're all stupid. You ever grow up, when you grew up, hey, by the way, I see no thumbs up. Could some of you go hit the thumbs up button? That'd be awesome. And then respectful, appreciative, gratuitous, easy, free. But you ever notice that, like, remember when you were a kid and you like listened to adults, teachers, preachers, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends' parents? Maybe you thought they knew things. And then you became an adult and you realized, wait a minute. Adults don't know shit. They're just pretending. And they don't even know they're pretending, some of them. But they tell me what to do. They don't know shit. Put a 1 in the chat if you realize that when you became an adult that adults don't know shit. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Maybe I even go out on a limb and say there are no adults. We're all just older children. Which actually makes the world a lot less intimidating. When you realize no one knows what the fuck they're doing. And everyone's stupid. So am I. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm stupid. Brilliant. If you can be one of the few people that realize that about yourself, you can kind of see things a bit more clear. I listened to adults who guided me to the autism vaccine. Do you mean like getting autism from a vaccine? Because I don't know if I've ever heard of a vaccine against autism. That doesn't really make sense. So I assume you meant the former. They still do it. By the way, I have a doctorate, and I was a practicing physician for a number of years. And I left because that system is fucked. It's not there to help you. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the doctors are bad people, but the system itself is fucked. It needs incredible reform. It is so corrupt and fucked. Mercury compounds, I figured that's what you meant. Which meme coin do you currently have or own? All right, I'll get into some of that. My meme coin holdings revolve mostly around 3 coins. 3 of them. And all 3 of them I have been following for a long time. Well, relative to their existence, right? I think the newest one, the least old one, the youngest one, is maybe 8 months old. That'd be Fartcoin. That's the youngest of them. And well, maybe we'll start there. Would you guys like to talk about Fartcoin? 1 yes, 2 no. I see a couple 1s, a couple 2s. So you guys are kind of mixed. So I'm going to give the edge, I'm going to say 1. Because I think it's a relevant one to look at whether you're invested in it or not. Because I think it is a very important indicator for the overall meme market. Okay? For the overall crypto market, but especially the meme market, and it's a really good indicator of the risk levels. Okay? Now, Fartcoin came out right here, October, okay? Or a little before Halloween. So that makes it, what? Yeah, about 10 months old, And its history, you have to understand, excuse me, if I could get some more thumbs up, I'd appreciate that. I have 2. So, it went on just a steady rise, right? It went up, down, up, down, up, down, had a big pullback here, right here. You know what happened right here? This is when Trump coin launched and drained a bunch of liquidity out of crypto. And then what happened was Fartcoin led the way. Fartcoin is one of the few coins to really, really, really bounce out of that. It went all the way up to its all-time high of $2.73. And then the tariff stuff actually started to kick in and scare people, brought it all the way down to 20 cents. Okay. Now, my first buy that I made was right here, just under 80 cents. Because there were a bunch of lines that I had that showed me that X marks the spot right there. So I pushed in a big chunk of my stablecoin into it, and it bounced nicely into about $1.30. Now, I'd like to say that I made a smart move and at least took my initial out, but I did not. I wrote it back down for a slight loss and then sold and said, fuck. And then I waited. Then I bought more here, I bought more here, and bought more here. So I was down in my position, but I felt very confident that this is an absolute leading meme coin in the market. And then what happened? It rallied up, got up to about 60 cents, and I sold my whole position for a nice gain because my average entry was in the 30s. So I almost doubled my money and said, all right, what do I do? And then I realized, well, there's still risk in this market going on. But I think Fartcoin seems to be a leader. So I think the market seems to interpret it as being less risk in terms of memes. It's a meme coin leader. And it makes a lot of sense if you know the history of it. Let me drink some more coffee. For one, it's an absurd name. right? It's the most silly thing. It pisses people off. It pisses Wall Street off. It pisses traditional investors off. And it's a big FU to the manipulation of just making younger generations poorer and poorer, saying, screw you, we're not going to participate, we're going to go buy Fartcoin. Plus, how Fartcoin was originated was actually, the whole idea of it was created by an AI agent called Truth Terminal, which when we go back in history, we'll see that that was really the first, like that's a historic thing. It was a Twitter bot, is a Twitter bot, and it was the first of its kind. And it created Fartcoin. It also created Goatsy. But Fartcoin was the first one that really created the idea for, and then someone else launched it. And so it has its roots in the first coin AI ever dreamt up, ever created. That's a pretty big narrative. And the whole concept came from, hey, you know, hey, Truth Terminal, the AI agent, hey, what's the perfect meme coin? And it thought about it and it said, Fartcoin. Humans seem to love farts. They're the funniest thing to humans. So Fartcoin is the most perfect meme. And when you hear that, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Because I'm in my 40s. I still laugh at farts. Absolutely. It will never end. Farts are hilarious. And then it laid out this whole, like, we'll call it white paper, this whole plan for like NFTs for it and different emissions that they called like something else. I actually have some fart NFTs too. That's what they literally called. They're the NFTs of Fartcoin. And I'm like, you know, and the market clearly showed that it liked it, and it's just like, it's just so perfect. So I'm like, this is one that I definitely want to be in. It's going to give me really good returns, okay? So Fartcoin is a really good risk on, risk off indicator, and it's certainly a leader, if not one of the absolute leaders in the meme coin market. It's a really good indicator for risk on, risk off, what the meme coin market is doing or heading towards. Because it will lead the way up. And once it starts to stall, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's the Bitcoin of meme coins, but, you know, kind of in that very, very rough way. So is Doge. You know, Doge is another one to follow. I'd say, yeah, anyways. So that's that one. So I have some Fartcoin, okay? Currently, I think I'm a little down on my position. I probably should have bought a little more of the lows, but I was a little too early to get. See, I make mistakes all the time. But they typically end up being temporary. And it has to do with patience. Got to have patience. And even me, as much as I preach patience, sometimes I'm impatient. And then, okay, here's another one that I'm in. We'll go over to the Ethereum ecosystem, because Fartcoin's on the Solana ecosystem. There's a based Fartcoin over on Base too, but I don't follow that one much, although that one tends to be Fartcoin beta. It does pretty well. The other meme, one of the other three meme coins I'm in Fartcoin. I'd actually, Fartcoin is my lowest position, smallest value position in meme coins. And I'm only really in three. Really only in three. There's some other ones, but much smaller positions, not worth mentioning. The other one I'm in is, put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard of the Boys Club. Put a 2 if you haven't. So my trade with crypto is against all meme coins except Doge. Yeah, I was too. But as time went on, you start to realize their place. L2. I already forgot what the question. Oh, Boys Club. So here's what the Boys Club is. So put a 1 in the chat if you've heard of Pepe. I'm sure you've heard of Pepe. So Pepe actually comes from a book written by a guy named Matt Theory. That's where Pepe comes from. The thing about Pepe, all right, there's Pepe. Boys Club, Pepe. He has 3 friends. That's Brett. I'm sure you've heard of Brett also. Well, here's the other 2, Andy and Landwolf. Okay. Ooh, shit almost fell. So Pepe, Brett, Andy, and Landwolf. I feel very confident that Pepe is, again, like Fartcoin, even more so probably, a leading blue chip meme coin. There's no reason to think otherwise. It has done nothing but show it is stronger and stronger. So I think, okay, if I can buy Pepe, I'll buy Pepe. But Pepe is really, really, really unique in that it itself has beta. What do I mean by beta? Beta means secondary to, but connected to, right? So altcoins are Bitcoin beta. In other words, if Bitcoin goes up, altcoins are going to follow. If Bitcoin goes down, altcoins are going to follow. If Bitcoin goes up, altcoins are probably going to go up more. If Bitcoin goes down, altcoins are definitely going down more. Beta tends to outperform and underperform, right? It follows the alpha. Bitcoin up, altcoins more. Bitcoin down, altcoins down more. So if Pepe goes up, the boys club, the other members of the boys club, should go up even more than Pepe, percentage-wise. And if Pepe goes down, they should go down even more. So really, if I buy a member of the boys club that isn't Pepe, what I'm really doing is buying leveraged Pepe. And actually, when I buy Pepe, what I'm really doing is buying leveraged Ethereum. If Ethereum goes up, Pepe goes up even more. Brett goes up even more than that. Andy and Landwolf go up even more than that. And same thing on the way down. ETH goes down, Pepe goes down more, Brett more, Andy Landwolf more, okay? So they're more volatile, but you can't get liquidated. You get to take leveraged plays without getting liquidated. Very unique thing to the boys club. So, and by the way, all of these really developed last year. Pepe came out in 23, okay? But in 24, a number of Bretts popped up, a number of Andys, a number of Landwolves. So it's like, well, who's gonna be the winning Brett, the winning Andy, the winning Landwolf? The Brett on base, I bought that around 200 million. And then it went up to 2 billion, and I sold it around the top. Am I always that good? Absolutely not. But that one I got. And I thought, well, shit, there's really something to this boys club. And then I started thinking, well, which one's going to be the winning Andy and which one's going to be the winning Landwolf? Because Brett seems to be beta to Pepe. It outperforms it. But Brett's, other than Pepe, Brett seems to probably be the biggest one in the boys club. So Andy and Landwolf won't be as big market cap wise, but they will probably percentage wise outperform Pepe and Brett. So I started digging in, doing my research during that period of like last summer from March to September, which is when the markets were going up and down, Bitcoin was going down, went underneath mining costs, all that stuff. And I identified two Andys. I identified the Andy that ended up being the winner, and I identified Andy on Blast, which was not a winner. But then I also identified the right Landwolf. Now, at the time, the Landwolf on Solana was like a $200 million market cap, way up here. And I'm like, unpopular belief, but I don't think that's the right Landwolf. And everybody on the streams would be like, no, man, this is the winner. You don't know it. Purple character, purple chain, because he wears like some kind of a purple shirt. I'm like, okay, I mean, at least, that's worth thinking about. But here's my thought process, and here was my thought process. I thought, okay, Pepe, clearly we all agree this Pepe is the Pepe, and that Pepe is on Ethereum. Brett, we all agree, this Brett is the Brett, and it's on base chain, which is what? An Ethereum layer 2. And in the boys club, the book, they're all roommates. And the winning Andy, we all agreed, is also on Ethereum. So why would, they're all roommates, and all three of these particularly already established on Ethereum ecosystem. Why would Landwolf be in a different ecosystem? Why would Landwolf live in a different house? And this is when Solana Landwolf is at 200 mil, and the Landwolf that I ended up choosing was at like $10 million market cap. And I would say stream after stream, I go, listen, Here's my thought process. What I just said to you, I said, listen, the roommates, Pepe's on ETH, Brett's on Base, which is an ETH L2, Andy's also on ETH. It doesn't make any sense that Landwolf is going to be on a different chain, living in a different town, a different house, a different town. I think that one's just going to bleed hard, and the one I'm talking to you is going to become the winner. And they're like, no way, bro, because they're already invested. They can't think, they don't want to hear it, they don't want to hear it. So they won't. And I'm like, well, I'll just keep saying it to you. And some people went along with what I said. And what ended up happening? Solana Landwolf, I don't even know what it's at today. It's probably under $10 million market cap. And my Landwolf ended up going up to 300 million. I rode it from 10 to 300. I sold it at about 2. But I sold it multiple times along the way. So I've really, on Landwolf, I've done probably like 100x through 2 different trades, because I bought at 10, rode it up to about 150, and sold about the top. And then when it came back down, I bought it again at about 20, and then rode it went up to 300, and I sold it at about 200. So if you do the math there, like, yeah, it's like 100x. And during the tariff thing, Landwolf came back down to 20, in the 20s. I bought it at like 50, 40, 30, 20 with an average buy of about 30, 35. And I sold it at 60, went up a bit more, came back down. So now I'm back in it, Landwolf somewhere around 40. And here was also my thought process too. I was like, listen, do you guys understand what contract addresses are? Most people, yes, no, yes, no. So here's the thing. Pepe, it's Ethereum contract address. It's a whole string of letters and numbers. It starts with 0x, which all Ethereum ones do. 0x69, okay. Well, Andy's, the winning Andy started with 0x68. Oh, and so that Landwolf, when I was telling them about it, I was like, this one starts with 0x67. So 67, 68, 69, all on Ethereum. That just makes sense. And they wouldn't hear it. Some would, but most by far wouldn't. And they lost their ass. And the ones that listened to me made a lot of money, and they still thank me to this day. If they sold. If not, they're quiet, they're just holding, thinking, why didn't I sell? And so it's clearly the winner. And Pepe, if the market's gonna go up, if Ethereum's gonna go up, Pepe's gonna go up. Because Pepe is premium Ethereum beta, and beta follows alpha. Ethereum's the alpha. So if Pepe's going to go up, the rest of the boys club is going to go up even more. That's why I'm in Landwolf. And Landwolf is the one coin this cycle that has made me the most money. See, it's being able to identify things like that and going out on a limb against the herd when you have a real case and not giving a shit what they think, because the reality is, if they all agree with you, you're probably wrong or at the top. See, they all thought Landwolf on Solana was the winner. That was the top. It ain't ever coming back. So that's the case there. You guys dig it? Amir says, you mean Brett on Base or Brett on ETH? I mean Brett on Base. Although the original Brett is on ETH. It doesn't have a contract address tie-in. I do have a little of Brett on Ethereum too. In reality, percentage-wise, Brett on Ethereum has outperformed Brett on Base. But I'm not gonna get into that because that's too much for most people listening. I just want to give the idea, explain this happening of the boys club, alpha, beta, etc., and why I'm in Landwolf. Because Landwolf is the most leveraged Pepe, leveraged Ethereum play. If ETH is going to go up, Pepe is going to go up even more. And Brett's going to go up even more than that. Andy more than that, and Landwolf the most, percentage-wise. Same thing to the downside, though. If ETH goes down, Pepe even more, Brett, Andy, Landwolf. Okay? So, yeah. But you got to know where your lines are. So those are those two. And the one I'm actually in that I have not probably, I definitely have the most in, which I bought utter destruction in blood. The coin, this other coin that I'm going to mention to you, which is dollar-wise, current value, the most money I have in a coin, it bled almost 99% from its top in January. It bled almost 99%. And I slurped up the blood. Uncomfortably, it didn't taste good, but I knew it was good for me. Weird. What's this guy doing? He's a vampire. By the way, if you'd be so kind to actually hit the thumbs up button, we only have 3 likes. The explanation of alpha and beta and the boys club, etc., that I just gave you is worth money. You can at least give me a free thumbs up. If you can't do that, then you're an extractive piece of shit and your life is going to be hard. That's most people. Oh my God, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I think I must have accidentally hit the mute button. Can you hear me? You can't. You can hear me now. Yeah, you know what? God damn it. How long? See, the mute button is right below the flip camera button. I must have accidentally hit the mute button, had no idea, because like 20 minutes later. Because I get on my rants and I ignore the comments because I want to stay on my rant, because usually the comments pull me off of my train of thinking. So I'll start over, I guess. So that's the one that I'm really in. Now, this coin, I ended up buying it back here and I forgot about it. It was just in my wallet, I forgot about it, and all of a sudden one day, boom, it was worth a shit ton and I sold it. And then I bought more here, here, and down here, and then it pumped after the tariffs, sold, got out in a profit, and I've been buying back ever since. So this is the gamer coin, MLG Gamer. It's only at about a 10 mil market cap, okay? And it's super risky. It's the riskiest thing in my portfolio. It's not something you should just go ape into. Again, I've been in it since back here and following the whole everything, about 26,000 holders. And it just makes sense to me as a community, because I just look at meme coins as community coins. How strong is the culture? How strong is the community? How much do people want to be there, etc. And gaming, like, it's gaming. And this to me seems to be the gamer's coin. Now, it had quite a bit of drama happen with this guy, FaZe Banks, who I'd never heard of until that pump happened. I'm like, oh, it's because of this guy? And I realized he's big in the gaming space, millions of followers, etc. I'm like, oh, but then he ends up being a sleazeball, and like, anyways, so then shit dumped like crazy, and there's been a lot of drama. But a couple weeks ago, he got back, finally made an announcement. He said, I'm out, and he sold his shit. So the market pumped up after he got out, because it was like a cleansing of the poison. But the community's strong as hell. And the idea of gamers, right? Gamers coming together, and nostalgia of gaming in particular from like 2000s to 2015, even late 90s, is like this era of MLG, the golden age of gaming. And it just makes so much sense to me. But again, like I was saying, it will be like, when altcoins really pump again, it'll probably be one of the last things to really move. So it takes an extra amount of patience. But again, I don't think most of you should go get it. But if you're intrigued, go start paying attention. Go start looking at it on Twitter. Go start following the metrics. If you know how to chart, start doing some charts and getting yourself informed. But that is actually, as far as meme coins go, at current value, that is what I have the most of, with Landwolf being second and Fartcoin being third. Fartcoin and Landwolf are pretty close. Landwolf's probably more. And then I have some other smaller ones, like one I really like is Sigma. I have a little unicorn fart dust. Again, all community based. Like, it just, I see them grinding it out. I like their ethos. I like Sigma as a community. I like Sigma as an idea, like a Sigma male. I like that because I see myself as being more like that, not a giga chad. It just seems gay to me. But Sigma, like, yeah, more of a subtle, like, get shit done man. Like, yeah, it's more like me. So I like it. And it's been like that. I've been in that. That made me a lot of money too. I was getting in that at like $10 million market cap. Went up to 150, and I sold it at 150. Again, I'm not a genius. Just sometimes I can kind of tell when things seem to be topping out, and I sold it. So I made really good money on Sigma, and it came back down to like 10, getting back in. I've been getting back in. But that's probably like my fourth biggest meme coin holding, and it's quite a distant fourth. I like it. You know, a little UFD, a little Michi. UFD, you gotta say, like, Ron being the face of that thing, like, that guy is just, and it's like wholesome. Like, I really, like, who isn't rooting for Unicorn Fart Dust? If you've been paying attention at all, like, who isn't rooting for them? Like, they're wholesome. Ron's great. Like, just a lovable character. And it's like, I think Unicorn Fart Dust is really undervalued. So I have some of that too. But again, if you're just gonna go buy things because I say it or someone says it, like, you and I can buy on the same day. And I end up making a lot of money and you end up losing your ass. What happened there? It's because I know why I was buying. You didn't. You need to know why you're there. And you need to keep paying attention and want to be there. If you don't want to be there, get away from it. Because you're just gonna fuck it up. I'm not just gonna look, like, I can't just look up a coin Chicago guy. Not with meme coins. Charting with meme coins, it's I'm not gonna say it's useless because it's not, but that's not how you determine which ones to be in. You determine which ones to be in by being in them for a while and really paying attention and observing. That's going to tell you a lot more than charts will ever tell you, because this chart looks disgusting. But then when I zoom in on the chart, I have such a more micro understanding of what's going on in the community and the ecosystem. Then I can look at the chart and see how the community responded. With meme coins, you've got to really be like micro looking. I can't just look at a chart on most meme coins and have it be very relevant. Because meme coin charts are insane. I mean, what would you do? What do you chart here? This is insane. Most coins will never come back from this. So that's my recommendation is, like, if you're in it and you want to be there, but you got to be real. You can't just be a self-bag promoter just because I'm in this thing so I like it. If it's not something like that you don't care when it goes, you just like being there, that's what you want to look for. I like being in the MLG community. I like paying attention to Fartcoin because I like what it stands for. I like Landwolf. And by the way, them as a community and a leadership and everything like that, fantastic. Sigma, I like it. I like being there. Unicorn Fart Dust, I like watching. I appreciate what they're doing, the effort they're going to, their creativity. But I can't pay attention to almost anything, to most things by far. And I recommend to all of you is to, like, by this point, and if you want to call it the cycle, you should have identified what you're in. And I think there is a massive diminishing return looking for new things. Yeah. Yeah. Looking at the transactions and stuff like that of, like, whales. And one thing that I noticed as MLG price was going down, I noticed the top wallets were accumulating more. That was a really good sign. It's like, wow, I see them growing. They're not selling. They're actually buying more. Wow. That tells me a lot about them. And so that was something I was watching on the way down, was what were the top 10 wallets doing? And they were buying more. I was like, wow. So these guys hold a large portion of the MLG coin. Same thing happened with Sigma, happened with Michi, happened with Unicorn Fart Dust. And the biggest holders bought more. Now, maybe they were just trying to average down their position. But nonetheless, I mean, they all had to have been way up. Because you don't get those size of bags unless you bought early. But they were buying. And they've been holding and not really selling, and it's just like, wow. And now it's been long enough that I'm just like, I'm just waiting for the fuse to hit the dynamite. I don't know when it's going to be. But patience. Yeah. Yeah, psychology. Because, you know, watching what people do tells you a lot, right? Tells you a lot. But you got to put in the time. Like, I'm a chart guy, but charts can't tell me everything. They can tell me a lot. And with certain assets, they're more valuable than others. With meme coins, charts are are the least valuable. I'm not saying they're valuable, but they're the least valuable of any asset I can think of, even in crypto. You have to pay attention to so many more metrics to help you understand the way this entity, this community, right, made up of individuals, but it's one living organism. It's like a body, right, made up of a whole bunch of cells and bacteria in your gut, etc. Right? Each one its own individual living being, but all come together to form this one big entity. That's what a community is. Your body is a community of cells with a chief executive center. Is Plan B actually Bane? You mean like from Batman? That's the only Bane I can think of. Have you guys hit the follow button yet? Have we turned on notifications? Or subscribe button on YouTube, whatever it is. If you like this, be sure to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna be wrapping this up here pretty soon. My phone's almost out of battery, forgot my charger today. Been on here for a while. I'll sum up what I'm saying today. It's, I repeat things over and over, right? Because I have my message doesn't change very much. Tactics may change a bit, but the overall plan doesn't change. Every single person, without exception, should be regularly buying Bitcoin, as long as Bitcoin is within a fair value distance of the mining cost. And when Bitcoin goes below mining cost, which is rare, over the 10 years of me charting it, it's only happened 4 times. So, and one of them was COVID. So extreme black swan. So if I move that one out, which was just the tiniest little blip in time, it's really only happened 3 times. So it happens about once every, we'll say 3-ish years. Very rare. And it's in times like that that usually your diaper is filled with shit. And you're in denial that you even wear a diaper, let alone it's filled with shit. And that it stinks. It smells good to me. Liar. But you don't know you're lying. So in the rare times Bitcoin goes below mining cost, you go recklessly heavy, every fucking penny between the couch cushion you can dig up, and shove it. You just wait. And you do that over a 10-year period. Because if Bitcoin only goes up on average 25% a year for the next 10 years, that puts Bitcoin in the millions. And you, if you do exactly what I just said, just buy Bitcoin regularly when it's within fair value of the mining cost. If it goes too far above the mining cost, don't buy. But those rare times, which is rare, and when it goes way below mining cost, which is rare, you buy extra, irresponsibly heavy. And you just do it. And you wait. You do that for 5 to 10 years. You're gonna have millions of dollars. Yeah, if you're buying $1 at a time, yeah, you're not. But if you're an adult, just a regular adult, putting a few $1,000s, maybe 5 figures in a year, you're gonna have a fucking stupid amount of money in 10 years. And then if you wanna play the altcoin game in between, have at it. But most of the time you do nothing but buy Bitcoin. And then, sure, when all of a sudden, because of tariff scares, Ethereum somehow goes into the 13 fucking hundreds? Yeah, you buy some fucking ETH. When Solana goes down to $8, yeah, you buy some fucking Solana. Better than that, you just buy Bitcoin. Duh. That's it. It's the class. Like, it just, you mostly don't have to do anything, and you shouldn't do anything 99% of the time. You should just chill and pay less attention, frankly. Because you know what's beautiful is, like, when I sold Landwolf and I sold Sigma and I sold Brett, like all near the tops, it's because I wasn't paying that much. I sold Turbo at the top too. Like Turbo, I forgot I even had Turbo. I just knew I liked the narrative. I bought it when it was dirt cheap after coming down from 100 to like 10 mil. I'm like, the story of this is beautiful. I love the story. It's all documented. It's the first to do it this way. It just makes so much sense. And so I bought some, and I totally forgot about it. And then one day, boom, it just shot up. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I could see what looked like on a chart to me kind of a topping out, because I wasn't like emotionally invested with how far I thought I was gonna go. I had no idea. It already beat my expectations. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll just kind of see when the chart kind of stalls and let's get out. And I kind of started stalling around, I don't remember, I kind of had 10. I got out like 400 million. I'm like, yeah, it looks like it's stalling to me. So I sold it all. And then that Landwolf, I got into Landwolf because I thought that made sense, 0x67, around 10 mil, it went up to fucking 150, and I wasn't even paying attention. I'm like, oh, looks like it's stalling out. Sold it all. And then I'm like, then I'm paying attention, because then it came down, I'm like, well, this nice trend line, 20 mil, that looks good, bought it. And then I kept paying attention and talking about it, but I knew it was a matter of time. And then it went up, and it stalled in January, and I sold it. Sigma, I bought it and forgot about it. And all of a sudden it was 150, it looked like it was stalling, so I sold it. Brett, bought it at 200, because it was starting to get kind of hypey. And it just had a big pullback. And then all of a sudden it went to 2 billion. I'm like, 10x? Looks like it's stalling, sell it. That's because I was paying less attention to those coins. It's funny how your bias goes away when you don't pay as much attention. It's like, it's so funny. Like, you could show me, like when the markets are going crazy and you show me your coin and I look at its chart, like if I don't know anything about it, I'd be like, looks like it's topping. In reality, you do want to pay some attention there, because you can kind of tell when you check the prices a few times a day. Just check the price, not even the chart. Check the price, you can tell that you can feel your feeling, and you're like, all right, is it gonna go up? Oh, it went down some. Oh, it's back up there. Oh, it went down some. Oh, it's back up to that same spot. I should get out now, because I don't know if it's gonna bust through, and then you sell. And then it goes down. Or it goes up, and you're like, whatever, make a really good profit. But most of the time it goes down. So in those times you want to pay attention, but you don't want to have delusions of where the price is going to go, because the truth is you don't know, you never know. But you can kind of feel what the market feels, because it's feeling what you're feeling, for the most part. Coinbase stock when it's low, absolutely. That's a really good proxy exposure to the overall market. And as a matter of fact, like, Coin has been a fantastic investment. Let me pull up Coin real quick. Let me go 3-day maybe. So, I mean, you look back at the bear market of 22, like, Coinbase got, all the way down here to like $31. And right now it's at 310, right? So it's a nice 10x over 2.5 years. It just kind of keeps going up. I mean, this thing has outperformed Ethereum. Matter of fact, let's pull up Coin. Divided by ETH. How many? Look at this. Coinbase has just been outperforming Ethereum. Now, as of recently, Ethereum finally started outperforming Coinbase. Am I confusing you with what this means?
So ever since really here, for the last 2 years, Coinbase has been outperforming Ethereum. Until recently, very recently, Coinbase or Ethereum really broke out of this channel. Now, it may come back up and test it, but I think that Ethereum has broken out of here, and we should expect Ethereum to outperform Coinbase for a little while. The zone I would look at, probably about here, which is about 0.06, which means it'd be about, that doesn't make sense. Maybe it does. Where are we at up here? Yeah, okay, that's right. About 0.06. So I mean about 0.06 ETH to buy one Coinbase stock. Actually about right here. Somewhere in this zone between 0.06 and 0.05. I think that that's kind of where we should expect ETH to go, somewhere between there into about 0.06, 0.05. Maybe down to 0.0420, somewhere in that zone. But I think ETH's really gonna come down more against Coinbase stock, which is interesting, right? And that's very relevant because Coinbase stock is such a kind of proxy for the crypto market. I clicked all notifications, thank you. Glad you're liking this. Yeah, coin price relative to ETH, yep. So right now, one Coinbase stock costs 0.07 Ethereum. At its peak here, it took 0.1, which was just in June. It cost 0.15 Ethereum, right? So double this to buy a Coinbase stock. And yeah, and right now it looks like somewhere between 0.04 and 0.06. I think that's big range, but I think that's the range. And right now we're at 0.07, 0.074 really, so it's more than just 0.07. But it's coming down. Again, I expect for the next couple weeks or so, week or two, for ETH to keep chugging along and finding its way to about 45 to maybe 4,700, which is a little below the all-time high. There's also a lot of short liquidations around the $4,700 range last time I looked anyways, which was a day or two ago. Yeah. My phone has very low battery. Be sure to go get that guide while it's still free. I show you over there how I get double-digit yield on stablecoins. Double-digit yield on Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. What that means is my stablecoin is passively every day turning into more stablecoin to the tune of 10, 12, 13% a year, but accumulating every day. And my Sol, ETH, and Bitcoin are accumulating to the tune of, last time I checked, about 20%. So my Sol, ETH, and Bitcoin are passively turning into, right, more Sol, ETH, and Bitcoin. Do you understand what you're missing out on by not knowing that shit? And that's tip of the iceberg. You are absolutely screwing yourself if you don't know how to use DeFi, which most people don't, because the opportunity is so massive because most people don't know how. But they won't learn until it's too late, and the returns, this big opportunity, you'll only hear about the glory days of DeFi. But you can still take advantage of the glory days of DeFi. Get it while it's still free. The guide. But most of you won't. And I promise you, if you won't go get something that easy, that beneficial for free, you don't really have much of a chance of winning at all. Because that's your psychology, something's wrong. And I'm not saying that insultingly, that's just most of us. We're all fucked up. But if you can use your logic for a moment, what's there to lose? Nothing. But go get it and fucking read it and fucking use it. I've been in DeFi since the beginning of DeFi. I put the things in there that I put in there for a very specific reason. Because they're some of the most valuable things that have ever existed in DeFi. They're the things I use by far the most. Talk about a shortcut for you. And you haven't gotten anything, you'll get it. For some reason, it should arrive within 15 minutes. At worst, an hour. Be sure to check your spam and junk box. Be sure to check your spam and junk box. APY is better than APR. Well, I mean, yeah, the things I'm talking about are APY, but it's not much different. APY, for anyone wondering, APY just means that APR means you get a certain percentage on the year. APY means that percentage is paid out to you incrementally and kept on your stack. And that yield that you got gets yield on it. So it's a little bit of a compounding effect. So yes, APY mathematically is better. The things I'm talking about are APY because you passively get paid them every day, little bits, a little bit of stable coin, a little bit of ETH sold Bitcoin, and then they earn more yield on top of them. It's a bit of a snowball effect. These things are APY. Regardless, even if it was only APR, which most things aren't APR, it's still a lot better than not doing it at all. Profits on profits, exactly. Yield on yield, really. Yeah. I have very little battery left. Are you wrapping Bitcoin? No. Wrap Bitcoin. I don't know how to wrap Bitcoin. I can buy wrap Bitcoin. I don't know how to wrap Bitcoin. You're paying out interest. If it's APR, you're paying out interest? No. I mean, when you get a loan and you're the one paying the loan, yeah, you're going to be paying an APR, which means they typically front load the interest, which is a really important thing to understand too, is the difference between a loan and a line of credit, which might be a credit card, which might just be a HELOC, home equity line of credit, or a personal line of credit, was very different than a loan. I really would urge all of you to go learn about velocity banking. It really just, the whole point of that is to just make sure people use the tools and understanding the difference between a loan and a line of credit, because most people don't understand that. I didn't until I learned about it a few years ago, which pissed me off, because I'm like, this is some basic shit that everybody should have learned very early on, but it's not taught. It's intentionally confused to create a form of voluntary enslavement, seriously, financial enslavement. Got to keep that number going up. Let's probably end the stream here. Hey, welcome, Chicago. I don't really, like, days are just days to me. Like, I don't have a job. Like, I don't work for anybody. So I just kind of do what I like to do. And I like investing. I like money. I like finance. I like business. So, speaking of business, I should probably start charging for some things on here again, because this does take up a good amount of my time from my other businesses. I gotta justify it. And when people pay for things, they pay a lot more attention, they pay a lot more effort, and they get a lot more out of it. So yeah, like if you, like, for real, I know you guys, some of you weren't getting this, almost none of you are gonna go through it. But the same thing, if you paid for it, almost every single one of you would go through it and try to use it. I've done this experiment multiple times over the years. Always turns out the same way, because humans are the same. We all think we want everything for free because we see no risk, but we don't see that if we have nothing on the line, then we don't do shit with it because we have nothing to lose. We do much more to get away from pain than we do to seek pleasure. And if you pay some money for something, well, you're in pain. So to relieve that pain, you gotta get your money's worth. But if you get it for free, you have nothing to lose, so you have nothing to lose. So you just continue about doing shit as you always have, and you don't learn anything new. So if you really, really want to benefit yourself,
Go pay for things. And the more you pay for those things, the more you're going to get out of them, because you are going to put in more effort. You are going to pay more attention. So next time you go throw shit at someone for selling a course, realize you're a monkey throwing shit. You don't even know what you're doing. But yet you'll pay $100,000, $200,000 to go to college for a degree on some fucking thing that never taught you about money at all. You can go get a finance degree and still not know shit about money. An economics degree and still not know shit about money. Oh, I'm gonna get a biology degree, okay. I spent $200,000. Studies show that, you know, if I have a degree, I earn more over time than not having a degree. Well, you also don't have a massive debt burden that you can really never get out of. I was watching some things that have been popping up lately about people and their student loans. Particularly, I saw this one about this girl. She was crying. She's like, I've been paying $1,500 a month on my student loan for 7 years, and I thought to check it to see how far down it's gone. And she goes, after 7 years of paying $1,500 a month, my balance is higher than when it started. Not a crime, apparently. But yeah, keep doing that. But if someone, say, charges $50 to learn how to get double-digit APY on your stablecoin, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, call them a piece of shit. They're garbage. Confused.
You're at work? That's cool. Yeah, when my low battery signal comes on, I'm gonna end the stream, which would be any second now, because it's on my iPhone, it's not red yet. Boy, it's about to turn red. So drop any last questions you got in here. I've been live today for about 3 hours between TikTok and the 2 YouTube streams I did. If you were on here for the first one, some of you were. And then I had phone calls coming in and it crashed the stream. And then I slowly, when I opened it back up, it allowed me to hop back on the stream. But I accidentally hit the end button instead of the resume. My hair, I didn't use shampoo this morning. And my hair is just greasy. I showered last night, thought I was all right. So I was like, I don't use shampoo again like 8 hours later. Velocity banking, yeah, that is a good subject to learn, it really is. And it's the concept's pretty simple. You just gotta understand the difference between how interest is accrued on a loan and how interest is accrued on a line of credit. That's all it is. Next Sunday, I don't know. I might be live again tomorrow. Just be sure to follow me on this and TikTok and turn on the notifications. For the meantime, I'll start the stream on TikTok because that's where 98% of my following is. But I'm trying to migrate off of TikTok or diversify at least, because TikTok, they're bots. They're always listening. And since I talk about crypto, their system will regularly flag crypto talk as fraud and scam. And so my stream will just disappear. I'm like, fuck. And then they strike my account and I can appeal it. Maybe at best 50-50 shot that they say, oh, sorry, it wasn't a problem. But it's just someone behind a screen just clicking. So it's like, I'm not doing frauds and scams. Your system is just stupidly flagging crypto content. If you get 3 strikes in your account in a 90-day period, your account is permanently banned. And I've had 2 strikes multiple times. And so at the beginning part of this year, about the first half of this year, I was just so sick of it because it happened to me over the holidays. I was just so sick of it. I didn't want to go live again. I didn't want to post because I'm like, now I'm in danger. If I post anything or go live, their system could just flag me. And sometimes it'll flag really old content. I had that happen in May. I'm at the Bitcoin conference, finally start recording new posts, and the system, I don't know if people on on TikTok, like actual users, just start flagging me, bots and people, because I have tons of impersonators over there and they just want my account to go away so they can be the main Daily Crypto Bull, which is just stupid because I'm not making new content. What are you gonna do? But I had that happen. I had 3 strikes come in. I appealed 2 of them and they got reversed. And then a third one came in. I'm like, thank God I didn't wait to fucking appeal those. And then the third one, which was a piece of content from 2022. Like, why is your system flagging 3-year-old content that no one's even watching? And why it did? I'm sick of TikTok. I like YouTube. As a user, I use YouTube a lot more. I like YouTube more. I don't really use TikTok as a user. I use it as a content creator, but it's a bunch of garbage because the attention span is so short that how do you really teach anyone anything? How do you really connect with anybody? How do you really, that's why I do live streams, but even then, I don't know. So I'd rather have most of my everything be on YouTube if it's gotta be anywhere. But go follow me on Twitter and Instagram also. Again, Daily Crypto Bull. That's my handle on all the socials. Go follow me on those. That is the signal. My low battery thing on my phone just popped up, so I only have 20% battery. So I am going to end the stream. Can you talk staking crypto? No. Well, I will talk staking crypto. Don't stake crypto. Don't do it. Well, how would... You don't know much about DeFi or any of that. So your questions aren't going to be helpful for you. Go get the free guide. I show you what I do. I can still get the staking yield without staking. I get better than the staking yield without staking, staying liquid. Go get the free guide while it's still free. Because what's going to happen is after, I don't know, a few hundred people go get it, I'm going to see that almost no one opened the email to even look, and almost no one's even going to go to the guide. And it's going to, again, piss me off and remind me why I don't give away things for free. Because when you give away things for free, people don't use them because there's no value, because they don't. But if they pay for them, they use them. So I will be charging for this in the future, I can guarantee it. Unless you guys prove me wrong. But again, I kind of need to start making some revenue with the channel because I'm taking a lot of time and effort away from my other businesses. So I got to justify it. Now, with that being said, it's almost useless. It's useless to give things away for free because no one uses them. I'm serious. I've done this for years. It's always the same. But if someone pays for the same exact thing, they're going to use it a lot, and they're really going to put in effort. And the more they pay for it, guess what? The more they're going to pay attention, the more they're going to use it, the more they're going to learn. Even though it's the same goddamn thing they could have got for free. It's just human psychology. We just do the same things. It's just the way we work. Where is it at? Right there. And Sophia, I know you've been on here before. This isn't the first time you heard me talk about it. Scattered minds. We all have them. Best we can do is try to let the dust settle. All right, y'all, I'm heading out. Hit the follow button, subscribe, whatever. Turn on notifications so you get notified when I'm live. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I've been posting some bangers on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter at least. Daily Crypto Bull, it's my handle on all the socials. Not Daily Crypto Bull 123, there are impersonators. I'm just Daily Crypto Bull, and I'm the only one that is Daily Crypto Bull. Go follow me, at least on Twitter. Here, obviously, but on Twitter, because I post some pretty interesting stuff over there. All right, see y'all next time. If I can figure out how to end the stream, probably just this button.